Hi there. In this section, we're going to talk about diapering and dressing your baby. We're going to start by talking about what you might need for diapering. Now, in the video that I'm going to show you, one of the things that we use is a diaper. And the one I use in the video is a Pampers. It is one of the most commercially popular brands of diapers. I'm only using it because I happen to get a bunch of free ones. So if somebody else had sent me free ones, I would have used those too. But these Pampers and Huggies are obviously disposable and can potentially be not a great situation for the environment. You can use other disposable ones that are a little more environmentally friendly, such as 7th Gen or Honest Company. They tend to have fewer dyes and chemicals in them, and they do break down easier in the environment. And of course, cloth diapers are also a possibility as well. Doing some investigating as far as which cloth diaper might be the best for you is a good idea. You will spend obviously a little bit in the beginning, but in the long run, you will obviously spend a little bit less. They can last between babies as well. So if you're planning to have more than one, then definitely these can be used between babies as well. All right, wipes. Again, the most commercially used ones are going to be the Pampers or the Huggies ones. Again, I'm using Pampers as the one to use, but again, that's just because I got some free ones. So you want to be able to have something that's dye-free, scent-free, especially in the very beginning. And the chemical-based ones do tend to be a little bit more wet. So you'll need to make sure that you're drying baby's bum off afterwards before you put on the barrier cream. There are, again, commercially available ones that are more like water wipes. Again, totally fine, but do make sure that you dry baby's bum off before applying any barrier cream. Barrier creams, again, the most popular one is going to be Vaseline. Vaseline is very thick and very sticky, so you'll need to make sure that you're cleaning baby's bum off really, really well and drying it off before you apply that, because it isn't breathable. And any residue found on baby's bum could potentially cause a rash if it's sort of adhered to baby's bum with the Vaseline. Subsequently, you can use more organic baby bum balms. You can also use coconut oil, which is an interesting one to use. Again, it's more environmentally friendly, it's more natural, and it does actually have antibiotic properties to it, which can potentially help prevent a diaper rash. Diaper rash creams such as Zincofax, Peniton, things like that, they aren't necessarily necessary until baby has a diaper rash. So it's not going to prevent a diaper rash, but it will treat a diaper rash, and we don't want to use it until it is a diaper rash actually comes into play. All right, so as far as diapers go, we are looking for minimum amounts of, you want to be changing baby's bum, or at least have a minimum of 1 wet diaper on day 1, 2 on day 2, 3 on day 3, 4 on day 4, 5 on day 5, 6 on day 6, where it should level off to about 6 to 8 at the end of the first week. For poopy diapers, we want at least 1 to 2 on the first couple of days, and we want at least 2 to 3 for the next beyond. And that poop should be changing color, as we mentioned in the appearance section. We should be seeing that poop change from that meconium poop to eventually, either if you're breastfeeding, that bright yellow with Dijon seeds, or a slightly less yellow poop that's maybe a little bit thicker, a little bit less runny consistency. All right. All right, so now as far as penis care goes, and the video isn't going to talk about this, so we'll talk about it here. If your baby is being circumcised, you want to follow the instructions of the person that's doing the circumcision, the doctor that's doing it, as closely as possible, because we need to make sure that we're looking for signs of infection and that everything is healing properly. It usually takes about 10 days to heal. And again, if there's anything of a concern to you, make sure that you talk to baby's care provider about it. Now, if you are not circumcising your baby boy, then the phrase is, if it is intact, do not retract. So Basically, the foreskin is held to the head of the penis with these skin tags or skin lesions. And what we used to do back in the day is with every diaper change, whoever was doing the majority of the diaper changes, which was usually the birth parent, is you would forcibly pull the foreskin down to break those lesions. I don't even have a penis, and I can't imagine how much that must hurt. Now, what we suggest nowadays is that if there's any stool on the head of the penis, you can pull it down a little bit, clean off the head of the penis, but that's it, without forcing it. What will eventually happen once your child hits around, 18 months to 2 years, once they figure out they have a penis, and they can't keep their hands off it, that's usually when those skin tags or skin lesions will actually break themselves. So your baby will actually be responsible for breaking those lesions. And then you have to have the conversation about where that's appropriate to do that. And it's not in the living room when grandma's over. So if you are not circumcising as well, once your child becomes sort of responsible for their own penis hygiene, it's important to make sure that you are teaching them sort of good hygiene in that area, because we don't want there to be multiple infections if the penis isn't being cleaned properly. And that multiple infections over the span of time could potentially result in a circumcision when they're a lot older, and that probably isn't going to be a good idea either. So make sure, as I say, that you're teaching them good penis care once they start looking after their own penis. All right, on to the video. All right, so we're gonna diaper our little human, Jojo. And what are we gonna need to diaper our baby with? Well, first thing we're gonna need is a mat to lay them down on. Okay? Now, we need a mat or some type of water resistant surface. That's not what this is, but we're gonna pretend, because babies leak. Even if you're everybody thinks, having a boy baby, you're gonna pee, they're gonna get peed on because they pee straight up. Unfortunately, little girls actually pee diagonally. So you're gonna get peed on likely no matter what type of child you have. But as a result, we're gonna need to make sure that we have something underneath baby to absorb some of that liquid that might be coming out of them. All right. Now, we are also gonna need a diaper. Now, if you are getting cloth diapers, you want to pay attention to what the manufacturers suggest for diaper cream and things like that. If you are using more eco-friendly disposable diapers like 7th Gen or Honest Company, no problem. There's no sort of issues with them. And then, of course, the more commonly used ones are going to be Huggies and Pampers. The ones I'm using now are Pampers, and I'm only using Pampers because I got a whole bunch of free samples of them. If I had gotten free samples of something else, that is what I would be using. I'm all about cheap. So we're going to be using our diaper. When we sit down to change baby, we're going to make sure that we open everything up. All right, open it all up. And this is usually the notch that's given for the umbilical cord. That's usually not enough, and I'll show you how to deal with that when we get to the umbilical cord. You're also going to need wipes. Now, when it comes to wipes, we want to make sure we pull a couple out, just because we don't want to be fussing with the wipes and opening them up while we've got baby exposed. So you want to open all this stuff up beforehand. You're also going to need some type of barrier cream. So either Vaseline is very commonly used, and that's what I'm using here because that happens to be what I have. We're going to open that up. Vaseline is, as I say, it's very commonly used. The thing with Vaseline, though, is you have to make sure that baby's bum is cleaned extremely well and dried off afterwards, because any residue that is left on baby's skin, the Vaseline, because it's not breathable, will sort of adhere it to baby's bum and thus potentially cause a rash. So make sure that baby's skin is really cleaned off really well and dried really well before you use Vaseline. Subsequently, you could also use, there's definitely organic, baby bum balms and things like that. They tend to be a little bit more expensive for small quantities. You're not going to use a whole lot of it, but it can get a bit expensive. The other thing that you can use is coconut oil. Just simple coconut oil that you would buy in any grocery store in the food section. Coconut oil has antibacterial properties to it. It's also a little bit more breathable. It will absorb into baby's skin a little bit better, and it will make cleanup easier. And that's really the reason why we are using these barrier creams or substances on baby's bum, to make cleanup a little bit easier. The meconium poop that you're going to get in the very beginning is very thick and very sticky, and you want to make sure that you're not having to chisel it off baby's bum. These barrier creams can make it a little bit easier for cleanup. Now, things like Zincofax, Penitin, Pseudo-Cream, these things that are designed for diaper rash. They don't prevent diaper rash, they treat diaper rash. So they are also very thick and very sticky. So we also don't want to be putting any of it on baby's bum, thus putting zinc oxide into their system needlessly if they don't need it. So you don't need the diaper rash creams until there actually is a diaper rash. And subsequently, coconut oil can actually help prevent diaper rash as well, because it does have those antibacterial properties to it. All right, so we've got our diapers, we've got our barrier cream, we've got our wipes. You might also want to consider having a few baby washcloths nearby, and that is because when their goods hit air, sometimes they just automatically pee. Now, you certainly don't want that pee in your face, and especially for little boys, they sell these little pee-pee teepees that you can put over their penis. They're adorable, but incredibly useless. They oftentimes will just make good rockets, as the force of the urine coming out of baby's penis is going to like shoot it straight up in the air. And what do you do if you have a little girl? Well, you're going to use maybe a washcloth to place it over baby so that you're not going to get peed on. So we're going to assume that this baby has pooped, right? So when that happens, put our stuff over here. When that happens, we're going to undo baby's diaper, and we're going to take the front of the diaper, and we're going to scrape off as much of that poop as possible, so we're not using 500,000 wipes. Also going to just cover up baby's genitals, and we're going to use the wipe, and we're going to, for a little girl, we're always going to wipe from front to back. We're going to go, if we have to go over the same section from front to back, we're going to use a different part of the cloth. Okay, front to back. Maybe we need to get into, if we have a little boy, we're going to need to get in underneath the base of the penis, underneath the scrotum, okay, and get into all the little nooks and crannies that they might have and clean it all up, right? And all of that is going to go into your green bin. Okay. Tabs on the back, scooch that underneath baby's bum, okay? And then Vaseline, and we're just going to smear it where we can see, okay? We're going to stay away from the urethra, and we're going to stay away from the tip of the penis. We're just going to smear it where we've got visual, and then we're going to diaper it, and we're going to load it up. Now, if you have a little boy, make sure that you point the penis downward, because if not, if the penis is pointing upwards, you're going to have a perfectly dry diaper and a perfectly wet diaper shirt. With a little girl, obviously that isn't going to be an issue. For the umbilical cord, you're going to fold part of the diaper down so that the belly button stays on the outside, or the umbilical cord that might still be attached is on the outside. And you're going to make sure that you can fit one finger in, okay? Pull out all the frills. You can get one finger in. If you can get more than that, it might be too loose. Again, pull out all the frills. You want it tight enough that baby isn't going to leak, but you don't want it so tight that it's going to leave a red ring around baby's bum, around baby's legs. And in all of that, baby has hated all of this. So it's always good to talk to them, talk them through it. I know, sweetheart, that was terrible, but you did a really good job. Right? So talking to baby, making them comfortable. They love the sound of your voice. It doesn't even matter what you're saying. Walking them through what's happening with the diaper change can be very helpful to make them enjoy the whole experience a little bit better. Now, we are also going to dress baby now. We're going to dress baby under the assumption that it's cold outside now. I'm filming this in 35-degree weather right now. So for that, if this was a real baby, I wouldn't really be putting in 2 layers onto this baby. But you want to make sure that you're making baby comfortable, but you're not overheating them. So there's a rule of thumb where we dress baby in 1 more layer than what you're wearing. And in February, that might make a little bit of sense. However, in August, in July, that might not make a lot of sense. If you're just in tank top and shorts, are you really going to put baby into 2 layers? Probably not. That doesn't make a lot of sense. I think the rule of thumb really should be use your common sense. So if your home is cold because of your inability to regulate the heat, or if your home is cold because the air conditioning blasts a lot, then you're going to need to make sure that you're looking into how baby is feeling about that. You can tell if baby is too hot or too cold, again, not by their hands and feet, because remember we saw that in the appearance section. Their hands and feet are always going to be a little bit cold, but feeling the back of their neck, that will tell us whether baby is too hot or too cold, okay? So we are going to put baby into 2 layers, but that's just to show you what to expect. This is a diaper shirt, okay? Just a 1-piece diaper shirt. And you're like, how is all of that how is my baby's giant cranium going to get into that? Well, the good news is that these little flaps open up to create a very large stretchy hole, okay? And you're going to pull everything up like you're putting on a pair of socks. You're going to roll it up like you're putting on a pair of pantyhose or tights. Over baby's head, pull it down, and they have probably hated all of this. But again, you're talking to them, I know it's okay. Find the armhole. And then when you try and manipulate baby's arm to put it through the armhole, they'll probably give you a stiff arm. And they're like, oh my God, what are you doing? I don't want to put my arm that way. Ah! So if you just hold on to their hand, hold on and just rub their hand a little bit, their arm should relax into it, and then you can put it through. Now we're not going to pull baby's arm through the hole. What we're going to do is pull everything over baby's arm, because we don't want to be yanking on their joints, their shoulder and their elbow and whatnot. They're still a little bit soft. And yes, babies are quite resilient, but we don't want to be yanking on anything that doesn't need to be yanked on. Same idea on this side. Just hold on to baby's arm until they relax a little bit, and then through and over. And then all the way down. And again, talking, everything's fine. I love you, baby. You're doing such a good job. Excellent. And then maybe we're going to pick baby up. I know, such a good baby. All right. Now we're also going to put baby into a sleeper because it is a little bit cold in here, right? And maybe it's a little bit cold outside. Oops. We're just going to lay it out. And this will be too big for this baby because sizing in infant clothing is ridiculous. Putting that in, and again, we're going to roll up the sleeves like we're putting on a pair of socks. Put baby's arm through, pull everything over top. Same thing on this side. And they might be fussy, but you're talking to them and making sure that they're happy with it all. And then even though this particular one has a piece of material between the zipper and the skin, I still stick my finger in there just to make sure that I don't snatch up any skin as I'm pulling it or zipping it up. Oh, I know, baby. Good job. All right. So there you have it. Our baby is now all dressed and ready to go. All right. Excellent.